28 years later and counting, it still remains a mystery at what point the ailing veteran politician was taken ill while in detention during that short period.
We were not together in the same cell. As you know, we were isolated. We were connecting one another when in hospital, in committee here, by clandestine. But I knew he was there because of my system, because we got to know one or two wardens who worked with us. But I did not know that he was ill. That's what I'm trying to say. You have to know at what point did he get ill. I don't know. His illness, I came to know about it after my release.
And I've read the file, the committee prison medical file on Kenneth Matiba. I've perused it from page 1 to the last page. And I have no doubt in my mind that Kenneth Matiba was denied basic human rights of medical care. Had he been taken better care, Kenneth Matiba would not have suffered.
He had been complaining that he was having headaches, and each time they reported to the officer in charge, they were told that Matiba was malingering. He could not even eat. But again, there was no treatment because as far as the officer in charge was concerned, he was still malingering. And it went on and on for weeks until he reached a point where he could not get from the bed. And I remember the askari telling me that there was one time they went to the officer in charge, they went to the office of the officer in charge rather than wait for him to come to tell him that in the assessment, Matiba was in very bad shape. He could die any time. He was very, very, very sick.
Despite that, and being seen by government doctors, whom I know the names, but I'll not mention them, they saw him and they didn't recommend urgent care. As I gave my evidence at Justice Lenaola, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Ken Matiba was kept in his cell, bleeding in his brain. He was brought to hospital on Thursday in the night for a scan of the brain. 4 days after the event had happened.
A matter that would later degenerate into a protracted legal battle before Justice Isaac Lenaola, now Supreme Court judge, as the judiciary sought to establish whether Matiba was denied critical medical care while in detention.
And I got the history quite clearly. And the history brings tears to my eyes, as I confirmed also from the prison notes. Ken Matiba fell sick on a Sunday in prison. He complained of very severe headache, disturbed vision, he was vomiting. To any average doctor, those three signs, disturbed vision, severe headache, vomiting, implies to any average doctor that there is something wrong in the brain.
I think he had a stroke in prison. Mild one, I think it was. And I think a bigger one came later. This is what I know now.
According to him, the situation would have been managed, but only if authorities had acted swiftly.
After the CT scan was done, it was shown that he had a bleed in the brain on Thursday. A bleed in the brain is a medical emergency. Despite that being noticed by the doctors, by the state, Ken Matiba was taken back to prison in committee after a CT scan had shown that he had bled in the brain. That is the worst treatment of a human being being denied urgent medical care.
For 11 months, Matiba remained hospitalized in London as a team of medical personnel tried their best to save him. But damage had already been done. His health continued to deteriorate. Back in Kenya, an anxious and expectant nation eagerly awaited his return, since the country had repealed Section 2A and multi-party democracy had been restored. On Sunday, May 2nd, 1992, Kenyans extended him a warm welcome as he arrived at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport shortly after 8:15 a.m., one of the warmest ever witnessed in this country. His return to Nairobi was both historic and complex. He arrived aboard a Kenya Airways flight from London, which was a decoy. Unknown to the country, Matiba had been booked on a British Airways flight that would have landed on Sunday 3 a.m., but his welcoming team, led by among others Dr. Gikonyo, Charles Rubia, Maina Wanjigi, booked him secretly on a KQ flight, which caught the security apparatus off guard.
We had booked to come on British Airways. I think it was landing at about 3 a.m. in Nairobi. We got wind that the reception was going to be very rough, that the GSU at the airport, but Ken, in all his wit, he's a very interesting man, he bought on the ticket for Kenya Airways. So whereas everybody was waiting for us to arrive on British Airways at 3 a.m., 3 a.m. arrived and there was no Ken. And I think the whole security was thrown into disarray because he's not coming. We arrived at 8 a.m. on Kenya Airways. I have never seen such number of people at the airport. It was a sea of people coming out and driving to town, to the All Saints Cathedral, was walking through a swarm of people.
Come December 29th, 1992, Kenneth Stanley Njindo Matiba contested the presidency on a Ford Asili party ticket, but there was a problem.
Although Ken took part in that 1992 election, he was never the old Ken. He was very limited. He walked with a limp. He could not see very well. He could not read or write very well. As you know, we had issues when we put the petition as to who signed the thing. He had already been destroyed. It was sheer determination of a man who never gives up that made him go through that election of 1992.
28 years after his catastrophic detention, Matiba is a pale shadow of his former self. Battling ill health, he is also completely destroyed politically, physically, socially, and economically.
When I see Ken and I see how much he has sacrificed for this country, I've seen his businesses go down. My children went to Hillcrest High School when they belonged to Kenneth Matiba. It no longer belongs to him. We used to have a very nice hotel in Jardini and in Mombasa and African Sea Lodge, and beautiful places. We used to go there with my children in the late 80s. To see a man lose all that for the sake of this country, that man requires a lot of recognition.
His family remains his biggest support system and perhaps only hope. They cancelled a scheduled interview for this program at the 11th hour owing to his deteriorating health condition.
Ken Matiba has been in and out of the intensive care unit at the current hospital now for the last 2 years. He gets better, but his lungs give way and he comes back again. Even now as we speak, he's very sick. He's on a ventilator. But knowing Ken and the way I know him, even this he shall overcome. He will come out of that vent, he'll get back to himself, he could get back to it, but he'll pull through this one. It's a very difficult one, but I believe he'll pull through. But as happened to all of us, one day the curtain will come down, the lights will fade, and sunset will come.
In August 2017, the court awarded the multi-party crusader Kenneth Matiba a 504 million shilling compensation for his detention. Matiba has died at the age of 85 years. Duncan Hemba for the Untold Story.